Welcome. Welcome to P4 Week 24 Math Review. I'm glad you're here. If you're worried about your math exam at this point in time, well, fret not. Just be consistent in your math revision. Study a little bit of math every single day, and I'm sure you will do well. There will be a motivational video upcoming. I hope you will watch it. See you after the motivational video.
Ever wish you could ace your exams effortlessly? In the next few seconds, you'll unlock key strategies for exam success. Firstly, trust your instincts.
How does it feel?
Stay calm under pressure. Focus on what you've learned. Break your study material into parts. Every step brings you closer to your goals. Use active recall to reinforce memory. Take short breaks to refresh your mind. Practice past papers for confidence. Believe in your abilities. Maintain a healthy study routine. Stay hydrated and eat brain-boosting foods. Sleep well the night before. Visualize your success. You've got this!
Okay, so let's do the first question. Which of the following is not a factor of 42? So before you can do this question, we have to find out what are the factors of 42. So first write down 42, then draw two lines branching out. So 1 is definitely a factor of 42. So 1 times 42 gives you 42. Since it's an even number, 2 will also definitely be another factor. So 2 times 21 gives you 42. Next, is it divisible by 3? Yes, it is. So 3 times 14 gives you 42. So I'm aware that you can't use a calculator. So what you can do is to do the long division and find out what is the quotient. So we'll go something like that. That's why you can find out that 14. And that's why you can find out that 3 times 14 gives you 42. Next, is it divisible by 4? Nope. So if you do the long division, you realize that you will have a remainder. Is it divisible by 5? Definitely not. But it is definitely divisible by 6. 6 times 7 gives you 42. So what are all the factors, right? You just go one round. So 1 is a factor, 2 is a factor, 3, 6, 7, 14, 21, and 42. So all these are all your factors, which means that the only number that is not inside is actually, so 6 is inside, 2 is inside, 3 is inside. So 4 is the one that is not a factor. So answer is option 4. Next, round 48695 to the nearest 100. So what you want to do is you want to write down the number first, 48695. And then you underline the hundreds place because they ask you to round off to the nearest 100. And which digit is in the hundreds place? You're right, it's the number 6. So all the digits to the left of 6 will remain. And the digits to the right of 6 will be 0. So the only number that will change is this hundreds place over here. So you can either keep it or you will round it up depending on the digit next door. Next door as in the neighbor to the right. So if you see a large number like 9, will you round down or will you round up? You're right, you will round up. And that's why the answer is 48700. And answer is option 3. So what is considered a very large neighbor, right? It's actually numbers that are like 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Neighbors that are considered small are like 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 as your neighbor on the right, you will round the number down, which means you have kept the number 6, the digit 6. But since your neighbor over here is 9, which is super large, you will actually round it up. And that's why we choose the number 7. And hence, the rounded off number is 48700. Next, in 69418, the digit 6 is in the, so this is the digit 6. So 8 is in the ones place. 1 is in the tens place. 4 is in the hundreds place. 9 is in the thousands place. Good. And this 6 is in the 10,000 place. That's why the answer is option 1. Next. The figure below shows the water level after Mr. Lee poured in 300 milliliter of water. How much was there in the beaker at first? Okay, so at first, is there more or less water in the beaker? There should be less water in the beaker because after that, Mr. Lee poured 300 milliliter into the beaker. So we want to find the original state, right? Which means we have to take whatever we have now, subtract this 300 milliliter to find out how much water was there in the first place. So before we can do that, we need to find out, in the end, how much water was there in the beaker. Okay, so if we examine this beaker very closely, you can see that there are 2 gaps that makes 100 ml. 1 gap, 2 gap. Which means that what does 1 gap represent? So if I write this down, 2 gaps represent 100 milliliter. Which means that 1 gap should represent 100 divided by 2 milliliters, and that will give you 50 ml. That's why this interval over here should give you 50, and hence this guy over here should give you 150. So if we are finding for this guy over here, which is what we wanted, this will be 450 ml. Because what you do is you just take this 400 plus this 1 gap, so it will give you 450 ml. So how much water was there in the beaker at first? You just have to take what's in the end, subtract what was added, and that should give you 150 ml. So answer is option 1. Next, which of the following are the common multiples of 6 and 9? So multiples means your multiplication table. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54. So common means that it must appear on the 6 multiplication table and the 9 multiplication table. So we just scan through. You'll see 18 appears on both sides. You'll see 36 appears on both sides, and 54 also appears on both sides. Which means the only answer will be this guy over here, 18 and 36. Of course, if there's an option that says 18, 36, and 54, then it will be even more accurate. How many right angles do 2 complete turns make? So there are 2 types of angles we need to know here. One is right angle. So how does a right angle look like? It actually looks like this, a perpendicular line. And how does a complete turn look like? It actually looks like this. So if this was the starting position, we turn 1 round, that gives you 1 complete turn. And this is actually 360 degrees. While right angle gives you 90 degrees. Since you want 2 complete turns, you will have 2 of it. Which means that it will give you 360 plus another 360. It should give you 720 degrees. So 2 complete turns give you 720 degrees. And they ask you how many right angle can fit into 2 complete turns. So we just have to take 720 divided by 90, should give you 8. Another way is you can see it like this. This is 1 right angle. This is another right angle. This is another right angle. And this is another right angle. So there are 4 right angles in 1 complete turn, which makes it 8 right angles in 2 complete turns. So answer should be option 1. Next, the product of 2 numbers is 152. One of the numbers is 8. What is the other number? So product means multiplication. So 8 times something gives you 152. So you want to find out what this question mark is. So the reverse of multiplication is actually division. Good. So what you want to do is just you have to take 152 divided by 8. So let's do the working together. 152 divided by 8. So 1 cannot be divided by 8, so we put a 0 here. So 0 times 8 give you 0, so you subtract 0. So the 1 minus 0 will give you 1, bring down the 5. So how many groups of 8 can fit into 15? It's actually just one group of 8. So we just subtract 8. 15 minus 8 should give you 7. 72. Now, how many groups of 8 can fit into 72? Is 9. 9 times 8 gives you 72. So subtract 72, you should get no remainder. And hence answer should be 19. And hence the other number should be 19. A number when divided by 6 gives a quotient of 109 and a remainder of 5. What is the number? So before we dive deep into this question, you have to understand what quotient, what remainder, what divisor is. So if we just use the previous questions example, this 19 over here is actually your quotient. This 0 over here is your remainder. Good. This 152 over here is simply your number. And this 8 over here is your divisor. So now they tell you you have a quotient of 109 and you. So now how do you find the number? You just have to take the divisor. So now they ask you to find the number. So how do you find the number? Is you just take the divisor, multiply by the quotient, then you add the remainder. So quotient multiplied by divisor, then you add the remainder. So we'll do the multiplication first. What is 109 times 6? What's 9 times 6? It gives you 54. What is 0 times 6? It gives you 0. And since you add a 5, becomes 5. And 1 times 6 gives you 6. Then next, don't forget to plus this 5. So you should get 6, 5, 9. And hence answer is option 4. Next. PQRS is a square. Find angle N. So what's so special about square or like rectangles in general, right, is that the corners are always a right angle. And just now we did establish that right angle is just 90 degrees. So this will not be an exception. This will also be 90 degrees. Which means that this angle over here plus this angle over here should give you 90 degrees. And to find angle N, just have to take the sum, which is 90 degrees, minus the other small angle. And hence this should give you 32 degrees. Answer is option 2. Which of the dotted lines below is a line of symmetry? So what is a line of symmetry? You can think of line of symmetry as like a mirror. So if you wave your right hand and you look at the mirror, the hand on the right side should also be waving. That's what a mirror image means. So it simply means like a mirror. Okay, which means that the left hand side and the right hand side of the mirror must look the same. They must be a reflection of each other. So if I make you focus on line CD, can you see that this is a mirror image of this over here? So it's like whatever is on the left hand side appears on the right hand side. And hence, this gives you your answer, which is line CD. You can trial and error with like other. You can like trial and error with like other lines, and you'll see that are not really a symmetry. For instance, we can try this out. So if you're interested, we can try EF out. So if you look at EF, if this side is like that, if EF were to be a mirror, then this side should appear like that, right? Something like that. And since this goes out, this guy must also go up. Something like that. And since this goes in, this guy also must go in. Something like that. So this would be more like a mirror image instead. Next question. Mary is facing northwest. She makes a 3/4 turn in a clockwise direction. Where will she be facing? So where is northwest? Northwest is actually in between north and west. So somewhere here. This is called your northwest. And naturally here will be northeast. Here will be southeast. So we always put south and east. So we always put north and south in the first letter. Then second letter would usually be east or west. Then here will be southwest. So she was facing northwest at first. This was her starting point. Then she makes a 3/4 turn. Before we make a 3/4 turn, you have to know that 1/4 turn is actually your right angle. So this is your 1/4 turn. This is another 1/4, another 1/4, another 1/4 turn. So 3/4 turn will just be simply 3 right angle. So this is 1 right angle, 2 right angle, and 3 right angle. And hence, she will end up facing southwest. And hence, answer is option 3. My drawing wasn't so accurate, and that's why you may think that it's not a right angle. But it's supposed to be a very accurate right angle. So something like that. Yeah. So, yeah. Next. What fraction must be added to 1/8 to get 3/4? So your angle is 3/4. And your starting is 1/8. So what does 1/8 gives you 3/4? So 1/8 plus question mark gives you 3/4. So to find the question mark, we have to understand what is the reverse sign of plus. The reverse sign of plus is minus. So we'll take the bigger number minus the smaller number. Then we can find our question mark. So it'll simply be 3/4 minus 1/8. You cannot do anything to this fraction because the denominator is not the same. So we just have to make denominator the same. And what is the common denominator? Should be 8, you're right. So to make 3/4, to have a denominator of 8, you times 2 times 2. So you count 6/8 minus 1/8. And hence it should give you 5/8. And the answer is option 2. Next, which of the following sentences is correct? So we'll do it one by one. First one says 80 hundreds plus 8 tens equals to 808 ones. Is this true? So what's 80 hundreds? Before we find out what's 80 hundred, what is 100? 100 has how many zeros? 100 has 2 zeros. And tens has 1 zero. So 80 hundreds just means 80 with another 2 zeros plus 8 tens, which is 8 plus another 0, goes to 808 ones. Ones just means 1, so there's no 0 at the back. So is this true? It's not true, right? 8,000 plus 80 should give you 8,080 instead. So this is wrong. Option 2, 80 hundreds plus 8 tens give you 808 hundreds. So same thing, hundreds got 2 0, 10 got 1 0, 100 got 2 0. So 80 with 2 zeros plus 8 with 1 0 is equals to 808 with another 2 0. No, right? Like we said in option 1, it should be 8080. What about option 3? 80 hundreds, 2 zeros, tens 1 0, tens 1 0. So 80 with 2 zeros plus 80 with another 1 0 equals to 88 with another 0. Is this true? It's not true. 8,000 plus 800 should give you 8,800. So that gives us our last option. 80 100, 100 got 2 0, tens got 1 0, hundreds got 2 0. So 80 with 2 0 plus 80 with another 0 equals to 88 with another 2 zeros. Is this true? Yes. Which means the answer is option 4. Okay, question 14. Ray started playing soccer at 2:35 p.m. he stopped playing at 4:05 p.m. How long did he play for? So he started at 2:35, ended at 4:05. So what we want to do is we want to draw a timeline. Okay, so what's the nearest hour to 2:35 p.m.? It's actually 3 p.m. So we are doing this to make life simpler for us. So between 2:35 p.m. to 3 p.m., how many hours is that? So between 2:35 p.m. to 3 p.m., how many minutes is that? You're right, it's 25 minutes. Then the nearest hour to 4:05 p.m. is actually 4 p.m. And from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. is actually 1 hour. And from 4 p.m. to 4:05 p.m. is just 5 minutes. So how long did he play for? It's 25 minutes plus 1 hour plus 5 minutes. So that gives you 1 hour and 30 minutes. Good. So answer is option 1. Next, 18 times 28 is equals to question mark divided by 6. So this is a two-step kind of question. Firstly, you have to find out what 18 times 28 is. So let's work it out. So usually I like to put a bigger number on top and a smaller number at the bottom. There's no fixed way to do it. I just prefer like that. So how do you do 2-digit times 2-digit? So first you'll do 8 times 8 first, and that gives you 64. Next you'll do 2 times 8, and that gives you 16. Plus this 6, hence it will be 22. Now we can erase this. Now we can erase this. And this arrows. Okay, so before you move on, remember to put a 0 first. Next will be 8 times 1, which gives you 8. And 2 times 1, which gives you 2. So now you just have to add these two rows of numbers together. 4 plus 0 gives you 4. 8 plus 2 gives you 10. So you carry 1 over. 2 plus 2 plus 1 gives you 5. And hence answer is 504. But this is only your first step. We still have a second step. So 18 times 28 equals to 504. So a question mark divided by 6 gives you 504. So how do you find the question mark? So what we want to do is we want to reverse engineer the whole thing, right? So if here is divide, to find the question mark, firstly you need to know what's the reverse sign of divide. And that is actually multiply. So to find the question mark, we just have to do 504 times 6. So let's do it together. 504 times 6. So what's 4 times 6? Gives you 24. Carry 2 over. 0 times 6 gives you 0, and you plus a 2, so it gives you 2. 5 times 6 gives you 30. So it's actually 3024. Answer is hence option 4. Next, Desmond had $10. He bought a book for $8.60 and the cashier gave him the change in 20-cent coins. How many 20-cent coins did Desmond receive? Okay, so before we do it, we have to find out how much change did he receive. So he had $10, bought a book for $8.60. So he should receive 10 minus $8.60 as the change, right? That should give you $1.40. So how many 20-cent coin is that? So just imagine you have a few 20-cent coin. So it's actually 140 divided by 20 cents, right? And that should give you 7 coins. So what you can do is that you can try to add up slowly. So when imagine it in your head, how many 20-cent coins you need? Another method is to remove the decimal point. So just take 140 divided by 20. So 140 divided by 20, 0 can cancel out. So it's just 14 divided by 2. And that should give you 7. And hence answer is still 7. So option 2. Next, Mr. Wong has a rectangular garden. He wants to build a fence around his garden. It costs $15 to build 1 meter of fence. How much does Mr. Wong have to pay to build a fence around the whole garden? So the fence will wrap around the garden. So just imagine a fence like that. So it's a fence, 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 and a fence. So fence are just like metal wiring to prevent like people from entering. So if you can see from the diagram, you should start to realize that it's something like perimeter, right? So how much fence you need is dependent on the perimeter of this garden. So how do you find perimeter of the garden? You just have to add up all the sides. So if here is 10 meter, here should also be 10 meter. If here is 5 meter, here should also be 5 meter, which means that the perimeter is just sum of all sides. So 10 plus 5 plus 10 plus 5. That should give you 30. So he needs 30 meters of fence. So how much will it cost him? Since 1 meter is $15 and you need 30 meters of it, so you need 30 times $15. And that should give you 450. Answer is option 3. Next. The figure below is made out of 2 identical squares. What's so special about square is that all sides are the same. And a rectangle A with breadth 4 cm. Find the length of rectangle A. Okay, so like what we said just now, square means all sides are the same. So if here is 3, here will also be 3, 3, and so on. So length of rectangle A is this guy over here, which means the question mark is here. So length of rectangle A will just be 9 plus 3 plus 3. So 9 plus 3 plus 3 should give you 15 cm. And hence answer is option 3. Next, question 19. The sum of two numbers is 2136. The greater number is 3 times as large as the smaller number. Find the difference between the two numbers. So you have a greater number and you have a smaller number. They tell you the greater number is 3 times as large, which means that if the smaller number is 1 unit, the greater number would be 3 units because it's 3 times. They tell you the sum. Sum means add up, right? Or like the total. Sum is 2136, so you can label that on your model. Find the difference between the two numbers. Difference is this guy over here. And that will be 2 units. So firstly, how many units is 2136? If you count the total, you have 4 units. So 4 units is 2136. 1 unit is 2136 divided by 4. So I'll just write the working. You can check your working against mine. There should be no remainder. Answer should be 534. So since you are looking for the question mark, which is 2 units, so go and find 2 units, which should just be 534 times 2. So same thing, I'll write my working here. Check your working against mine. Next, a t-shirt is sold at $5. And hence the answer should be option 2. Okay, question 20. A t-shirt is sold at $5. For every 2 t-shirts that Andrew buys, he will get 1 t-shirt free. How many t-shirts can Andrew get if he spends $20 on t-shirts? Okay, so for every 2 t-shirts that Andrew gets, he gets 1 for free. So as a typical Singaporean, we want to get as many free things as possible, right? So we'll try to get as many, so we'll try to group these 3 t-shirts up so that we can get as many free t-shirts as possible. So for these 3 t-shirts, it will only cost him $10 because he only pay it at the price of 2 t-shirts. So if he gets like $90, how many groups of such 3 t-shirts can he buy? Or can he get? It will just be $90 divided by $10, right? So that's 9 groups. And they ask for how many t-shirts can he get. So if one group has 3 t-shirts, and now you can get 9 groups, so it just be 9 times 3 t-shirts, and there will be 27 t-shirts. And hence answer is option 3. Write 6 10,500s and 9 ones in numerals. So 10 has 1 zeros, 1,000 has 3 zeros. So 6 10,000 is just 6 0 0 0 0. 100 has 2 zeros, so that's 500. 9 ones has no zero, so it's just 9. So if you add them up, you get 60509. Answer is 60509. From the question 22. From the greatest 5-digit odd number using the digits below. So there are 2 criteria. One, it has to be the greatest. The other one is it has to be odd number. And obviously it has to be a 5-digit. So, which means that if you have a 5-digit number, this number must be the biggest. This number must be the smallest odd number. So what's the smallest odd number here? It's just 5, right? 5 is the smallest odd number. And what's the biggest number? It's 7. So we'll just put the next biggest number here. So that'll be 6. And the next biggest number is, so 7 is used, 6 is used, 5 is used. So followed by 4, then 0. So answer is 6. 76405. Next, arrange the fractions in order beginning with the smallest. So here will be the biggest. Okay, so something that should stand out to you is that the denominator is not the same. So you have to make it the same. So what will be the lowest common multiple? So let's list out the multiplication table for 2, 7, and 5. Then we'll find the lowest common multiple. So for 2, it will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay, so usually for this type of question, what we would do normally is that we will go and find the lowest common multiple. But as you can see here, it will take you a very long time to find the lowest common multiple. Or more like the lowest common multiple will become very big. So what an alternative way to do it is to just imagine, an alternative way is to think of it in terms of pizza. So if you look at half is like that. So that's half. 2 out of 7 means you have to split it into 7 slices. Then you take 2 slices of it. And 2 out of 5 means you split it into 5 slices. And you take two of it. So if you can see, half is actually the biggest. That's the biggest shaded area. So half is actually the biggest. So now you just have to compare 2 7 and 2 5. So the numerator is the same. So you can tell that the numerator is the same. Same numerator. So when the numerator is the same, do you remember this rule? Where if you have the same numerator, the bigger the denominator, the smaller the fraction. So it's basically an inverse relationship. It's the opposite relationship. So the smaller the denominator, the bigger the fraction. And you can kind of see it from here. So this is 2 out of 7, here is 2 out of 5. Obviously, my drawing isn't like the best, but like if I were to draw it properly. This is like roughly 2 slices. Obviously, my drawing isn't the best, but like just imagine if you have like many friends, like you got 6 other friends, like you got 7 people eating the pizza. Each of you are gonna get like just a small tiny piece, right? When you compare like you with like eating it with 5 people compared to like you eating in a group of 5 people, you definitely get a bigger size because you get to share among. Because like you get, okay, sorry, I didn't realize that my video is blocking it. Anyways, if you have a smaller group of friends, then obviously you get to eat a bigger slice of pizza. So that's how you can think of it. So the smallest is actually 2/7, and hence the remaining one is just 2/5. Yep. Next. What is the sum of the first 2 common multiples of 3 and 5? So before you can find what's common, you have to go and list out the multiples of 3 and multiples of 5. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Let me just list out. Okay, so the first 2 common multiples, so if you just scan through which numbers appear on both sides, right? So 15 is the first one. Another one should be 30. So they want sum. Sum means plus. So you just have to add 15 plus 30. And that should give you 45. Next, 687. Next, find the product of 59 and 687. So product just means times, multiply. So I'll put a bigger number on top so it's easier for me. Then I'll put a smaller number at the bottom. So this is a 3-digit number multiplied by a 2-digit number. So there will be a little more steps. So first you have to do 7 times 9, and that should give you 63. Next you do 8 times 9, that should give you 72. And you add a 6 here. So that should give you 78. Next will be 6 times 9, that gives you 54. Plus this 7 over here, that should give you 51. Next, before you do anything else, the first thing you should do is to put a 0 here. Now, we can do the same thing, but with the digit 5. So 7 times 5 gives you 35. Add a 3 here. 8 times 5 gives you 40. But remember to plus 3, so that's 43. Then last but not least, 6 times 5 gives you 30. Don't forget to plus 4, so that's 34. So now you just have to sum up these 2 rows. So there'll be 0 plus 3 gives you 3. 8 plus 5 gives you 13. 1 plus 1 plus 3 gives you 5. 5 plus 4 gives you 9. And last but not least, a 3. So answer is 3, 9, 5, 3, 3. Next, what is the remainder when 4077 is divided by 8? So let's do the division. So can 4 be divided by 8? No, it's too small. So then put a 0. Then we carry down this 0. Can 40 be divided by 8? Yep. There will be 5 minus 40. Okay, let me just list out the multiples of 8 quickly at the side so that you guys have a reference. Okay, I hope that's enough. So now carry down this 7. Can 7 be divided by 8? Nope, 7 is too small. So put a 0 there, minus 0. Carry down this 7. Okay, it's not enough. I'll go on 72, 80. Okay. So now, how many 8 can fit into 77? 72, right? So that is 8 times 9, which gives you 72. So now you have a remainder of 5, which is what the question was asking for. What is the remainder? So remainder is 5. Next, what is the mass of the watermelon? Give your answer in gram. Okay, so this is in kg. That's something you have to take note. And the question wants it in grams. So just keep it in the back of your mind. So let's count the number of gaps from 0 all the way to 1. Okay, let's count the number of gaps between 2 and 3. So 1, 2, 3. Let me decrease the pen size if possible. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 gaps. And 10 gaps give you 1 kg, right? Because from 2 to 3 kg, that's 1 kg. So 10 gaps give you 1 kg, and 1 kg is equivalent to how many grams? 1000 grams. Which means that this is equals to 1000 grams. So 1 gap will just be 1000 grams divided by 10. So just cancel the 0. So 1 gap will give you 100 grams. Then look at this arrow pointing there. This arrow is pointing here. So from 2 to this gobble here, how many gaps are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 400 grams, which means it will be 2 kg plus this 400 grams. So 2 kg, 400 grams. But they only want it in grams, so we have to convert the kg into grams. So that will just be 2400 grams, because 1 kg is 1000 grams. So answer is 2400. Next, what are the missing numbers? So for part A is more straightforward. From 2 to 6, you times 3. If the top times 3, you have to do it for the bottom. Don't forget. So 3 times 3 just simply gives you 9. So part A answer is 9. Part B is not that straightforward. So you need to have an intermediate step. So convert it to another fraction first before you convert it here. So what should be the intermediate step, right? It should be your number that is a factor of both 10 and 15, so that you can convert from 10. So you can convert 10 to another number before you convert it to 15. So let's list out the factors of 10 and 15 first. So for 10 is 1 times 10, 2 times 5, and for 15 is 1 times 15, 3 times 5. So you can see 5 appears on both sides. Of course, 1 appears on both sides, but it will not be useful for us in this case. Right? Okay. So we just have to convert it to 5 first. So from 10 to 5, you divide it by 2. So then 2 divided by 2, because you have to do it for both the top and the bottom, right? So 2 divided by 2 gives you 1. Now from 5 to 15, you just have to times 3. So bottom times 3, top also must times 3. So 1 times 3 gives you 3. And hence answer is 3 over 15. Next, Mr. Lee attended a meeting which lasted for 50 minutes. It ended at 11 a.m. What time did his meeting start? Okay, so the timeline is actually printed out for you already. So what I can do is to go through this timeline for you. So usually for like time question, it will be really helpful if you can draw a timeline like what is shown here. So started at 11 a.m. What you want to do is you want to reverse 50 minutes. Of course, some of you who are more inclined in math, you guys can reverse 50 minutes very quickly. But another way to do it is to split it into 2 parts. So you reverse by 30 minutes first. Then you reverse it again by another 20 minutes. So in total, you still reverse it by 50 minutes. So when you reverse the time, you realize that you actually started at 10:10 a.m. Next, measure angle DAB. I don't have a protractor with me, but the answer should be roughly 132 degrees. I will accept plus minus 2 degrees. Next, look at the grid below. Point Y is southwest of point Y of something, right? So the compass has to be placed some in this character, whichever character you put here. So Y is here. If I put my compass here, it'll be north, it'll be south, it'll be east, it'll be west. So southwest will be somewhere here, right? Southwest means in between of south and west, which means that point Y is southwest of point T. Okay, next. Now Riza is standing at A and facing south. How many degrees will she need to turn in an anti-clockwise direction to face the cafe? So now she's facing south. Where is south? So here is north. South will always be at the bottom of north. East will be on the right. West will be on the left. North, south, east, west. So if she's standing at A and facing the south, it means that she's facing the field. Then now she want to turn in anti-clockwise direction. So it can get a little bit confusing at the start. So just look at your clock ticking. Your clock tick, 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 tick. So your clock ticks in the clockwise direction. That's how the clockwise direction, the term came about. So just look at how your clock ticks. I have a clock with me right now. It ticks like this, right? Tuck, 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 tuck. Okay, so that's clockwise. It ticks like this. Anti-clockwise will be against the clockwise. So it will tick like this instead. So you'll go here instead of here. So 1 is wrong, 2 is correct. So you go in that direction instead. Okay, so now she want to face the cafe. Cafe is here, right? So she will need to turn this way. And how many degrees is that? So you can split it into a few 90 degrees because staying at P4 level, 90 degrees is what you are most familiar with. So you can split here, there's one 90 degree. Here's there's another 90 degree, which means the right angle. So 90 plus a 90. And this small angle over here is half of 90 degree. So that makes it 45 degree. So just take 90 degree divide by 2. So now you have all the numbers, just add them up. That should give you 225 degree. Hence answer is 225 degrees. The rectangle has been completed for you, so we'll skip this question. Next, the dotted line AB is the line of symmetry. Shape 2 squares to make the figure symmetric. So like what I emphasized in class, line of symmetry just means a mirror. If you look at yourself in the mirror, imagine yourself standing in front of the mirror. When you walk closer to the mirror, the figure, like yourself in the mirror, also starts walking closer to you, right? It doesn't walk further away from you. Yeah, so you can go and look at yourself in the mirror. So same thing for these shaded squares over here. So if this guy is very near the mirror, this guy should be shaded also. Like the squares that is very near the mirror. This guy is a little bit further away from the mirror. So the guy is a little bit further away from the mirror, should be shaded also. So now if you look at it, look at the figure again, it looks very nice because it looks like a mirror reflection. So whatever is on the left appears on the right of the mirror. Of course, the mirror is slanted, so maybe you can like tilt your head a bit to see it a little bit better. Next, a shopkeeper has 6200 oranges. He wants to pack them into boxes. Each box can hold 9 oranges. What's the least number of boxes he needs to pack all the oranges into boxes? Okay, so a shopkeeper has 6200 oranges. And each box can hold 9 oranges. 9, 9, 9. And of course, there's more. But in total, there's 6200 oranges. So they ask you how many boxes are there, which means you have to take 6200 divided by 9. So I'll do it with you. Just go and check your working. So 6 cannot be divided by 9, so that's 0, 62. After that, this should be 6 minus 54. 8, carry the 0 down. And that should give you 8 minus 72. 8, carry another 0 down. And that should give you another 8 and minus 72. Oops. Okay, so just note that you have a remainder 8. So it's 688, remainder 8. Where will this remainder 8 go, right? It will be packed into the last box. So this last box only has 8 oranges instead of 9. But since you need to pack all the oranges, you cannot throw these last 8 oranges away. So just pack them into another box. It doesn't matter how many oranges the last box have. Just make sure you pack everything. So which means you will need 6, 8, 9 boxes. Because you need another box to pack the last 8 oranges. Hence answer is 6, 8, 9. Okay, hope everything is okay. Okay, next. Ali's age is a multiple of 6 and a factor of 84. His age is between 30 and 50. What is his age? So there's 3 criteria. 1, multiple of 6. 2, factor of 84. 3, must be between 30 and 50. So we'll deal with the first criteria first, which is multiple of 6. So that's 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54. Next, factor of 84. So be 1 times 84, 2 times 42. Is 3 possible? 3 times 28. 4 times 21. 5 is not possible. 6 times 14. 7 times 12, that's a lot. Let me just shift this up. 7 times 12. And that's it. Okay, so third criteria is that it must be between 30 and 50. So we can eliminate those that are not between 30 and 50. So eliminated. So this gone, 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 gone. So the number that appears both sides is 42. So answer is hence 42. Next, A, B, C, D, and E, F, G, H are rectangles. AB is 25, C is 8, GF is 17, and ask you to find DH. So question mark is here. So let's do it slowly. So can you guys help me find HC first? HC will just be 17 minus 8, and that should give you 9. Now we can find DH, right? So just be 25 minus 9. So 25 minus 9, that should give you 16. Hence answer is 16 here. Next, Mr. Singh bought 4 belts and a pair of trousers for $196. The pair of trousers cost 3 times as much as the belt. How much did a pair of trousers cost? So if the belt costs 1 unit, it means that the trousers cost 3 units because it's 3 times as much. So these trousers will cost you 3 units because we said it here. And if one belt costs you 1 unit, 4 belts will cost you 4 units because 4 times 1. So, which means that this $196 actually belong to 3 unit plus this 4 unit, which means that 7 unit gives you $196. And they ask you for trousers. So go and find 1 unit first before you go and find out what 3 unit is, because the trouser costs 3 units. So for 1 unit, it just be 196 divided by 7. So you can check your working against mine for a trouser. So it will be 28. And 3 unit will just be 28 times 3. So 84. Hence the trouser costs you $84. Ian and Doe had 8 for 4 stickers altogether. Emily and Doe had 199. Ian and Doe had 8 for 4 stickers altogether. Emily and Doe had 1096 stickers altogether. Emily had twice as many stickers as Ian. How many stickers did Ian have? Okay, so if Ian had 1 unit, it means Emily had 2 units, right? Because Emily had twice as many stickers as Ian. So now we look at the first statement. It says that Ian and Doe had 844 stickers together. So I'll replace Ian with 1 unit instead. So 1 unit with Doe give you 844. And now can we look at the second sentence? Second sentence says that Emily and Doe had 1096 altogether. So I'll replace Emily with 2 units instead. So 2 units and Doe is 1096. So the model will look something like that. So now, can you see that 1 unit is actually 1096 minus 844? So 1 unit is 1096 minus 844. I will do it with you. Just check out again. You're working against mine. So 252. Now, how many stickers did Emily have? So Emily is the one with 2 units, right? So we just have to find out what 2 unit is. So just 252 times 2. And that should give you 504. So answer is hence 504. Next, the figure consists of 3 rectangles. A and B are identical. Identical means same. Find the parameter of the figure. So parameter means you add up all the sides, right? So we have this as 48, which means this side is also 48. Which means this side over here is just 48 minus 16. And that should give you 32. Which means this side is 32. This side is 32. So erase this part. You can just take this part as 48. Okay, so now we have to deal with this. Okay, so now we have to deal with the green parts. The 3 green parts will simply add up to 50. So here, and here, add up to 50. So now you got the length of all the sides, right? Just add them up. So 50 plus 32 plus 32 plus 48 plus 50 again plus 48. So I will just write down all the numbers that I circled. So for time's sake, I will just key into my calculator, but you guys should have no calculator. So answer should be 260. Here's a 5. We move on to section C. 2952 stickers were shared equally among a group of children. Each child received 8 stickers. There were 91 more boys than girls. How many girls received the stickers? So it was split into 2 different models. The first model shows the number of children. And the second model will show you the number of stickers. So they tell you there were 91 more boys than girls. So if I have boys, I have girls. Girls will be 1 unit. And boys will be 91 more. Now let's talk about stickers. So we have boys, we have girls. Since everyone received 8 stickers, right? If there are more boys, it also means that the boys receive more stickers than the girls. So boys will also receive more stickers because they have more people, and girls will receive less. But in total, we are told that there's 2952. Still put this as 1 unit, 1 unit. I will not put this as 1 unit, 1 unit because it might confuse you. I'll put this as 1 part instead. But it means the same thing. So now, let's find out this guy over here. So since there are 91 more boys than girls, it means that the boys receive 91 times 8 more stickers than the girls, because each child received 8 stickers. So that will give you 728. After that, they ask you, so that will give you 728. So I'll label 8 here, 728. Now they ask you how many girls received the stickers. So the question mark is here. Before we can do that, we have to find out how many girls. Before we can do that, we have to find out how many stickers the girl received. So let's look at this model over here. So to find out the number of stickers that girls receive, just have to take 2952 minus 728 divided by 2. So 2952 minus 728, that will give you 2 part, right? So 2 part will be 2952 minus 728, that's 2224, and 1 part will just be 2224 divided by 2, so that's 1112. So girls receive 1112 stickers in total. How many girls are there? Just have to take 1112 divided by 8, because each girl received 8 stickers. That should give you 139. So answer is 139. Next, a shopkeeper had 120 boxes of apples. Each box contained 25 apples. He then sold 1856 apples, then repacked it into bags of 8. How many bags of apples would he have? So let's find out how many apples are there in total first. So if there are 120 boxes and each box contains 25 apples, in total, there will be 120 times 25 apples. So there will be 3,000 apples. And if he sold, it means he has less now, right? So how many apples he has now? It will be 3,000 minus 1856. And that should give you 1144. And then he packed it into bags of 8. Then he asks you how many bags are there. So now instead of boxes, now in bags. And each bag has 8 apples. Then in total, you have 1114 apples. And they ask you how many bags. So number of bags just be 1144 divided by 8. So that will give you 143 bags. Hence answer is 143. Okay, question 43. Mrs. B and Mrs. Chan went shopping with the same amount of money at first. Mrs. B spent 480 and Mrs. Chan spent 620. In the end, Mrs. B had twice as much money as Mrs. Chan. How much money did both of them have altogether at first? So we have B and we have Chan. So they started off with equal number of money, equal amount of money. After that, B spent 480. Then Chan spent 620. In the end, B had twice as much as Chan, which means that B had 2 units in the end, while Chan only had 1 unit. So we'll just point this out. So now can you see this part over here? 1 unit is just 620 minus 480. And that should give you 140. So 1 unit is 140. So Chan had 140 in the end. So how much did Chan have at first? It's just 140 plus this 620, right? So at first, Chan had 140. So at first, Chan had 140 plus 620. That should give you 760. And at first, Bei had the same amount of money as Chan. So to find out how much they have altogether at first, just have to take 760 plus another 760, or just simply 760 times 2. So that should give you 1520. Hence answer is 1520. Question 44. Mr. Tay spent 5184 on a sofa, a bed, and a computer. the sofa costs 909 more than the computer, and the computer costs 765 more than the bed. And they ask you what was the cost of the bed. So for this question, you have to draw a model. So we have a sofa, we have a computer, and we have a bed. The bed costs the least, so we will have the smallest model. Then computer costs 765 more than the bed. So computer costs a little bit more. And then we are also given that sofa costs 909 more than the computer. So sofa will cost 909 more than the computer. So the rest will just be 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit. We're also given last information, which is that the total costs you 5184. So total costs you 5184. Great. So now the model is drawn. Now we can see clearly that 3 units is just 5184 minus 765 minus 909 minus 765. So 3 unit is just 5184 minus 765 minus 909 minus 765. And that should give you 2745. So let me erase things. Okay, so now you have 3 units. The next step is definitely to find 1 unit. So 1 unit is 2745 divided by 3. Good. So answer will be 915. And that is actually what we are looking out for. So the bed costs you 1 unit, and you found out that 1 unit is 915. And hence answer is 915. Right. Next is our final question. Jerry has 1045 marbles and Kenneth has 799 marbles. How many marbles must Jerry give to Kenneth so that Jerry will have 106 marbles more than Kenneth? Okay. For this question, it is also a must to draw a model so that you can see what's going on. So we have 2 characters. We have Jerry and we have Kenneth. Okay, so Jerry has 1045. Okay, so Jerry has 1045, which means that Jerry will have a bigger model than Kenneth, who only has 799. So how much more does Jerry have than Kenneth? It will just be 1045 minus 799, and that will give you 246. So Jerry now has 246 more than Kenneth. So now they're asking you how many marbles must Jerry give to Kenneth, so that now Jerry will have 106 more than Kenneth. So if I just pull this up, so in the end, Jerry will have 106 more than Kenneth. So if you look at this shaded part, right, it's the one that Jerry has to give to Kenneth, right? So it's the same one. So I'll just highlight it. And if I trace it up, it should also be the same one. So to find out how many marbles Jerry must give Kenneth, we just have to take 246 minus 106, then divide it by 2, right? So that you can just find one orange part. So you'll be 246 minus 106. That gives you 140. And you divide it by 2. So answer should just be simply 70. Well, that concludes today's paper. Hope you have a great week ahead. See you.